All right. Hello and welcome if you're watching and wondering what this is. This is my 2025 project. It's going to be dubbed Al's Book Club, not married to the name whatsoever. If you think you have a better idea, let me know. We're open to any and all suggestions. I got my bachelor's degree finally, probably about well, it was about 2 Octobers ago. So whatever that is, do the math there. 15 months? Not 15. Yeah, close. It doesn't matter. Anyway, now that I was done with school, I could start picking off this book list that I've accumulated over the years. And I've had a fun time doing it. I last year was awesome. I read probably not a lot of books, probably close to a dozen, and I started to learn a lot, have a better perspective, um, learned how to have a better mindset, how to be nicer to myself, all these good things. And this project is just to kind of share the wealth, pass the good word along with things I'm doing. So if you want to follow along with me, that's awesome. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit about yourself. I'll keep learning about myself. You'll probably inadvertently learn a little bit more than you want about me, and that's okay, I guess. I have never been one to want to be an influencer. I have never wanted to post or share or anything like that, but this is just an experiment of mine. And if nobody watches, that's fine. I will yell into the digital space for, the next year, I guess, every 3 weeks. 16 weeks now is what we're looking at. So 16 books. Feel free to follow along. I'd love it if you did. I'm hoping to have some better ideas at how to break up just me being the focal point, So we'll try to break down the minutia of just whatever session or post or vlog. I don't even know what it's called, but we don't need to get down into the semantics of it. So we'll see what happens with this. In the meantime, we'll just keep reading. We'll talk about the things that I liked, the things that I've learned. And you can comment along and tell me, maybe some things you learned, and we can try to strike up a discussion about it. And I think that would be awesome. This is something that I just hope creates a little bit of good in the chaos of what the world is right now. So, Al's Book Club 2025. Follow along if you want to. It's not my best sales pitch, but all right. Let's see. I got a pile of books. We'll riff a little bit about them. These were some of my favorite books from last year, and a little bit longer now that I'm looking at it. The first two was probably right when I got done with my bachelor's, so a little over a year. The first book that I had, it looks like now that I'm looking at this is in the chronological order of that I read them. Got this book right here. All right. It appears that they're now in the position of the order that I read them in. Okay. Winning by Tim Grover. He had a book prior to this that was a bestseller called Relentless. If you don't know or never heard of Tim Grover, he was the personal trainer for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Michael Jordan's one of my all-time favorite athletes, even though I never really watched his games. But I enjoyed The Last Dance, and my parents will tell you he's the greatest basketball player of all time, even though they don't watch basketball now. And if they do, it's just they don't like it. It's not the same. Anyway, Michael Jordan, a lot of good stuff in here. He just kind of picks through the mindset that Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant would come in with every day. He has, I don't know, it's like winning is 13 things or something like that. The winning 13. So pretty much like 13 principles of what winning is and how you can try to define that, Because winning just isn't the finish line. Winning is everything it takes to get to the finish line. and he does a good job of applying it to the outside of the sports world, because winning just isn't regarded by championships. And outside of life, winning is not about becoming rich or getting. I mean, it can be, but it's not always that. Winning can be just something that you did in the day. Winning could be getting that grocery list done. Winning could be getting through the week without drinking or something like that. I know people, and myself included, there's times in my life where winning is just getting out of bed. Winning is getting outside into the sun and going for a walk. There's a lot of ways you can define winning, and he does a really good job discussing about what winning is. So that was that one. This won't be a theme, but it kind of discusses a lot of the same stuff, but just through a different man's eyes. Phil Jackson, 11 Rings. He wrote this book talking about his clearly 11 championships that he won. He won 6 with the Chicago Bulls and 5 with the LA Lakers. And there's a lot of good stuff, not just about Michael Jordan and Kobe, but just kind of the process along the way. There's a little dive into his life growing up too. And he is quite the philosopher. A lot of quotes, Buddhism, Zen, all that stuff here. I just opened this up here. Here's this one. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. It's a bunch of stuff like that. And if you're into it, I recommend it. He's got a lot of good stories in here, and he's got a lot of good things to say. Phil Jackson. A lot of sports books. Hope you like it. This doesn't always have to be sports books either. It doesn't have to be self-help books, I guess, that I'm reading. It could be any book. We could read whatever. I have the next 2 books lined up, and that is it. This could be, it's pretty open after that. We can read and talk about whatever. So let me know. If there's a book that you are dying to read, let me know. If it's a book that you've already read and you want it to be in here and I'll read it, sure. And it could be a book that I've already read too. I'm down for whatever. This is, very open concept. There is no right or wrong in this. The Inner Game of Tennis by Dr. Timothy Galloway. I think he's a doctor. I don't know. Sounds better for him. This was using tennis as a medium to just kind of discuss like self-talk. You have self 1 that does the activities, the tasks, the things you do, and then self 2 is kind of that conscience. Words are hard. I'm I'm taping this at midnight. All right, past my bedtime, but I had such an urge to get this done. Lost my train of thought. Self-talk. You have self 2. You have self 1, you have self 2. Self 1 is the one that performs the physical task. It does it. Your body knows how to do it. Just do it. Self 2 is your conscience that tells you all the negative things throughout the day. I am one to argue in my head with myself about nonsense all day. And this really helped me kind of identify that when it starts to happen and how to get out of that, and just be a little bit more present and focused on the task at hand, kind of being where your feet are. Really good stuff in here too. This was my favorite book last year, and it might be my favorite book of all time. I guess I really haven't read enough books, so I don't know. Open, an autobiography by Andre Agassi, one of the better tennis players of his generation and all time. Career slam with a gold medal. He was the first tennis player to ever do that. And this just talks about his life and his childhood and then his tennis career. Crazy story. Didn't want to play tennis. Didn't necessarily like tennis. Had a dad that thrust him into this and forced him to kind of do this thing. And, it was his whole identity growing up. It just kind of was like, this is what he felt like he was supposed to do, even though he didn't want to do it. And he did it, man. He won a lot of times. and there was a lot of times that he didn't win, and he talks about a lot of the mental health stuff that he went through. Um, you know, one of the more probably controversial athletes of his time too. He was just always put under the microscope for what he wore, how he talked, his mannerisms. Um, just a lot of that's something I can relate to too. So this really resonated with me just through that prism, and just his story is unbelievable, dude. I can't believe it. How do you win that much when you don't even like? Clearly, he wanted to play tennis to some degree, but I guess that's all he knew too. I don't know. Maybe that's just all he knew. There was maybe didn't see there was another way out. It's a really good book. I recommend reading it. Um, an adventure story that's true about a dog named Arthur. They came out with a movie last year. Don't watch it. It's not good. It's terrible. Read the book instead. It's about a dog in South American jungle. This adventure team racing, which is like hundreds of miles long, and you run, you climb mountains, you get in a kayak and go down rapids. It's nuts. People get hurt in this stuff all the time, and this unkept, infected, starving dog followed them through the jungle and finished the race with them. And then the team captain, Michael Lindnord, he got Arthur into Sweden and took him home with him. And it's a really phenomenal story, just about, man's best friend. I love dogs. Don't have a dog, would like one. I read about them instead. Legacy by James Kerr. This is about the New Zealand rugby team dubbed the All Blacks, and they are one of the, I think, if not one of the most winningest sports teams in like world history, and they just dominate. And a lot of it can be credited to the winning culture that they have adopted throughout the years. So it dives into a lot of what that kind of culture is. Just to give you a quick view through that prism, character, being adaptable, purpose, responsibility, learning, expectations, preparation, pressure, how to handle it, being authentic, sacrificing, language is a good one. My baseball team, we kind of talk in our own little code, and just like all cultures, I guess. So there is a culture with winning, and it talks about that a lot, and it's a really good book as well. If you want to dive into that as well, boy, 13 minutes. I can really talk for nothing, huh? Or about nothing, rather. Let's see. All right. So we'll have 16 books that we'll read together, hopefully. And then this was the last book that I read. And this is about another person that I admire very much, I'm inspired by, and that is Giannis. This is his autobiography by Mirin Fader. And it really just kind of does a deep dive into his life, his childhood. His childhood is bananas, really just from nothing to something story, true underdog story in a way. Nigerian parents immigrated to Greece. I was blown away by how Greece is quite like a hub for immigrants, refugees, things like that. So that the culture of Greece is crazy, and there's a lot of similarities with the United States and immigration and what people think about immigration and the controversies around that. So that was interesting to learn about. Giannis's family and his parents were those people, and he was born in Greece with his brothers, and they worked as kids selling whatever they could. Parents trying to find a job, really wild stuff. He is my age, which is crazy. So like when I read a biography, I think about I was thinking that he, like they're usually people older than me. So I'm thinking about, oh, when he was 13, like How old was I? I was 13. This dude's out here and trying to scrape just for food and shelter, and his family being, evicted over and over and moving their stuff and finding where to live. And it's just such a contrast to what I was doing at 13. It's such a different world, and um, good perspective. And then, just kind of, he started basketball at 14. He wanted to be a soccer player, first of all. This guy's, what, a 7-footer? Maybe just under. Can you imagine this guy running on a soccer field? It'd be insane. Born to be a basketball player. Picked it up at 14. Um, would sleep in the gym. Had to walk, take buses if they could, to get to the gym that he played in. And it's crazy because he was drafted as was pretty much unknown, and he didn't even play in their A division or anything like that, but you could always see the potential in him, which is just crazy to me. And I think that speaks through his work ethic and his hustle and everything like that. So it talks about that. It goes through his life in Milwaukee. He had to go by himself and, sleeping with your brothers in a bed and then going to this completely different culture. I mean, I would be quite shocked. I don't even know what it would be like to go to Europe, but I feel like coming here after not experiencing a lot of things over there is got to be quite different, and doing it on your own would be scary. I had a hard time going to Iowa when I left home, and that's it's in the same time zone. I couldn't imagine being a whole half a world away. So it talks a lot about that. He's got a lot of good stories about being Americanized, getting his driver's license. And his brothers are insane too. They're all playing basketball, and it talks a little bit about that. I love how family oriented they are. He, if he's successful, they're successful, and then vice versa too. Their successes are his successes. He still went to his younger brother's games at Dominican High School while he was in the NBA. He just he hasn't forgotten his roots. He stays humble. It's amazing. And he's probably, I don't know if he's in my top 5 all time, but he's definitely top 5 Wisconsin sports for sure. But it goes through his whole life, going to winning a championship. Really good story, really good dude. If you have time, I recommend this for sure. This is a great book. And it took me 2 months to read. It took forever for me to read this book. It's insane. All right, finally. So let's see here. These are the next 2 books I'm reading. Yeah, I guess the theme is mindset and growth. We could dive into more different stuff, but here are the next 2 books that I have, and these are both from my sister from Christmas, so thank you. She got me a whole bunch of books. She got me this book. Look at this thing. I always ask people all the time, and this guy that was a patient of mine at work seemed like he really he just seemed well read. So I was like, what do you like to read? And he recommended The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. Look at this brick. We will not be reading this in the book club. Thank you, Maddie, but this is boy. The guy that recommended this to me, he's a little bit more sophisticated than me. Thank you for the book, Maddie, but this is going to take me. Let's see. It's almost 1,000 pages. Is it 1,000? No, 971. Ken Follett had a lot to say in here. We're not reading it in this book club. We'll get to it. All right, we got here Captain Class, New Theory of Leadership by Sam Walker. This was published in 2017, I think. And here, what does it say? The 17 most dominant teams in sports history had one thing in common. Each employed the same type of captain, a singular leader with an unconventional set of skills and tendencies, drawing on original interviews with athletes, general managers, coaches, and team building experts, Sam Walker identifies the 7 core qualities of the captain class, from extreme doggedness and emotional control to tactical aggression and courage to stand apart. Told through riveting accounts of pressure-soaked moments in sports history, the captain class will challenge your assumptions of what inspired leadership looks like. I started it already. I'm a little fired up. This book has already kind of got me hyped up, so I'm excited to read that. After that, I have The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Apparently, it's a New York Times bestseller. Doesn't really have, a back hardcover. That's him. Doesn't say anything fun. He's an optimist. That's good. So he did TED Talks too. Simon, thank you. We'll be reading you in a few weeks. All right, Captain's Class. The Infinite Game. Check them out if you want. If not, I'll be here just yelling into the digital space all by my lonesome. Thank you for your time. If you read or watched this, I can't believe I did this for 21 minutes. Just me riffing. I thought these would be like 10 minutes at the most. And I really don't know what I was like. Did I repeat myself on a couple of things? I don't know. Really scared to do this for a while. It took me forever to record this, so proud of myself to have gotten the first one done. I don't know how much editing I'm going to do. Maybe if I start to like this process, we'll upgrade. Maybe get some imaging, make a logo. We'll see. I don't know. Don't know what this is going to become or what it is going to bring, but I'm excited, and I hope you are too. And I look forward to talking to you. Talking to you on. Boy, what a terrible production. I need something to help me with that. Today's the 23rd. February 13th. Look forward to talking to you February 13th. Alrighty. Goodbye now.